What's going on, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I will teach you how to build a server-side application using Ts.Ed. Ts.Ed is a Node.js framework for building scalable web applications. It was developed with TypeScript and allows you to use either object-oriented programming, functional programming, or decorators to create your web applications. This tutorial is more of an introductory course to Ts.Ed, and then we'll be building a blog API that will teach you how to connect to a MongoDB database, create a service, controller, upload a file, and then also render static files. Without much delay, let's get started. So I have my VS Code window opened up right here on my computer. To get started, ensure you have at least Node.js version 14 and then the MongoDB database installed locally on your computer. With those requirements met, let's go ahead and install the Ts.Ed CLI. So because we're installing this globally, we are going to add the G flag. So we're installing the CLI. So this will take a little bit of time to complete. So we'll continue the video right after the installation. The CLI has successfully been installed. Now let's go ahead and create a project. So right here, we're going to specify the folder name for this project. So let's call this Ts.Ed demo. So we're going to be asked if this is the project name we want to use. So let's hit the return key. And then also Ts.Ed runs on two platforms. It runs on the Express.js platform and the Core.js platform. So you can choose the preferred one you want to use depending on the project you want to build. So for this tutorial, we're going to stick to the Express.js platform. So I'm just going to hit the return key. Also, we're going to select the architecture for this. We're going to use Ts.Ed. Also, the convention for file styling, you're also going to use the Ts.Ed file convention. Then right here now, we're going to choose the features that we want in this project. So you can see that we have type, GraphQL, database, passport.js, socket.io, Swagger, and other features. So for this tutorial, what we want is just the database. So I'm going to create the space key to choose the features that I want. So I just want the database for this tutorial. And then also we're going to choose the ORM manager for our database. So since we are using a MongoDB database, we're going to use Mongoose. So I'm just going to hit the return key. And then lastly, we're going to choose the package manager to install the packages required to run this application. So I'm also going to choose Yarn. So you can choose anyone that you like. So for this tutorial, I'm going to use Yarn. So if you're going to use Yarn, also make sure that you have Yarn also installed globally on your computer. So right now, Ts.Ed will install all the dependencies that are required to run this application. It will also create all the files and then also the project structure. So this will take a little bit of time. I'm going to continue this video right after the installation has completed. So right here, we have the folder structure for this project created. Let's go ahead and explore them real quick. So here in the SRC folder, we have the config, the controllers, index.ts, and server.ts. So in the config folder, we have the environment variables for this project setup, logger, and then also here in the Mongoose is where Ts.Ed sets up a connection to our MongoDB database. So which you can see right here. So in our controllers, so we also have a subfolder, which is the rest. We are at Ts.Ed create all the controllers for each application. So we have a hello world controller already created for us right here to test things out. So also we have the index where the application is being bootstrapped, and then lastly we have the server where the necessary configurations are required to run this application is being set up. So we can see right here the middlewares are already set up for us. The views also by default it uses EJX. And also, if you want to add any other feature or maybe a configuration for this project, you can come up right here and set it up. So with the application created, let's go ahead and create a model. So to do that, we're going to run generate command using the CLI tool. So we're going to be asked the name I want to give our model. So let's call this blog. So right here we can see that Ts.Ed has generated a model folder, and then also has created a blog model .ts file. So right here. So let's go ahead and import the decorators to enable us and create a model. So we're going to start by importing the model decorator and object ID to create the ID of each record in the database. So this property decorator allows us to add the properties to our model. So right here we're going to first of all specify that this is a model by using the model decorator, and then also let's change this to underscore ID, and then this should be and object ID. So we're also going to add other properties to this. We need the title, which is going to be a string type. We also need the content of the blog, which is going to be a string type, and so we need the file. So as you can see, I have an AI that auto-populates some of the code for me. So right here also we're going to add created date, and also we're going to add the updated date. So we also need one more decorator here, which is default. So the default decorator allows us to specify the default value for each properties in our database. So right here we're going to use the default decorator to specify default value for this is going to be new date, and also let's copy this. So right now we have a model created. So let's go ahead and create a service. So to create a service, we also need to run the generate command. So this time we are generating a service, and as usual we are going to be prompted to select the name for our service. So let's call this blog, and then Ts.Ed will create a new folder right here, the services folder, and then also a blog service.ts file. So right here to use our model, right here we need to import it, and then also we need to import another decorator, which is the mongoose model, which allows us to have access to the methods that will allow us to create, delete, update, and delete a record from our database. So to make this available in our blog service, we need to import one more decorator, which is the inject decorator, which will allow us to inject our model in our blog service. So right here you can see in our constructor method we have the model injected, and then also we have a private variable that will give us access to all the methods that are exposed in the mongoose model. So now let's go ahead and create our methods to create, update, delete, and then also to get all the blocks in the database. So right here we have the first one to get all the blocks. So you can see right here we are using the blog model variable, and then also accessing the find method to get all the blocks in the database. So the next is to get a block by its ID. So we should change this to any, because if the block does not exist in database, so it will return null. So that works. So also we have another method to create a blog. So right here we are using the create method, and also we should have the update. So the update should also return any in case if the blog is not found, and finally we should have the delete. So the delete should return any, and then also use the find by ID and delete to delete the block by its ID. So right here we have the methods required to create our CRUD operations for this application created. Let's go ahead and generate a controller to access them. So to do that, we are going to use the generate command. So this time we're generating a controller. So we're also going to call this blog controller. So now it's asking us the route that we want to use. So let's use slash blog, and then also this is going to be in the rest directory. So right here we can see that we have a new file created. So now to have access to our service, we need to also import it right here. So importing blog service. So we also need to import the inject decorator to inject the model. To inject the service in our controller. So right here we also have it injected in the constructor. So, and then also a private variable that will allow us to access those methods that we defined in the service. So right here we're going to change this to get all the blocks. So we're going to change this to return this. Okay, we have that already with AI. So to get all the block, and then let's also get the block by ID. So right here let's import other decorators. So we need to import the post, the put, and then also we need to import the delete decorator. So this will allow us to create a post endpoint, put endpoint, and delete endpoint. So let's go ahead and create the post, and lastly, okay, the put. So this AI is really really powerful. So it already knows what I want to do. So it just generates the code for me. So finally, we are getting the delete. All right. So we need to do one more thing right here. We need to import another decorator to have access to the request body, and then also the request params, path params, and then also body params. So the path params, like I said, will enable us to have access to the request parameters, while the body params will allow us to have access to the request body. So right here we need to change here. We need to bring in the path params. So we're going to get the ID from the request parameter. So let's get this and then have it across, and then also we need it here. So in our body we're going to use the so we're going to use the body params. Okay. So we also need to import our model. So we have the controllers for this project created. Now let's go ahead and configure the application to serve static files. We are going to do that right here in the server.ts file. So let's just add another configuration. So we're going to call this statics. So, and then right here we have, so with this right here now we can actually serve static files. So this is the parts where we can actually access all the static files from the browser. So if we access the IP address /public, we should be able to have access to all the static files, and the static files should be located in the public folder in the root directory of the project. So let's go ahead and create that. So we're going to create a new folder. So let's call this public. So if we go ahead here and create maybe an index dot, let's call this okay, HTML. HTML file, and we just create some dummy documents. So so right here we can actually access this index.html file from this route. So let's go ahead and run the application. To do that, I will use yon start. So Ts.Ed will build the project, and then also right here we can see on the console. So you can see all the methods for our routes. You can see the endpoints, and then also the class methods. So first of all, let's test out. The static file. So this Ts.Ed by default listening to port 8083. So slash public slash index.html. Okay, so we're having an issue right here, say not found. Okay, this is HTML. This is HTML. So as you can see right here, we've been able to render the static file, the index.html file. So to see the output of that, let's add the head. So let's say hello world. So should refresh. So you can see hello world. So we've been able to render a static file using Ts.Ed. So let's also add another configuration to upload files. So to do that, we also need to go back to the server.ts file, and then also add another configuration. Right now we're adding mortar. So Ts.Ed has all these configurations already for these features we're adding set up already for us. All we just need to do is just to add the configuration and how we want it to look like. So right here we have mortar, and also we're going to specify the destination for the files. So this should be on the public, so we can be able to access it, public/uploads. So this will create an upload folder inside the public directory. So let's go ahead and modify our controller to upload a file. So Ts.Ed uses the multi-path file decorator to upload a file. So let's go ahead and import the decorator. So multi-path. So I have that right here, and then also we need another decorator, the platform mortar file. So the platform mortar file allows us to pass the file from the request body. So right here in our create method, we're going to add this decorator right here. So we're going to have the multi-paths file decorator, and then we're accepting this as file from the request body. So this is going to be file, and it's going to be of the type platform multi-path. So, and we also need to do one more thing right here. We need to modify the request, like the block data that is coming from the request body, so that we now add the field, like the file name of the file we are trying to upload to the request body. So we're going to say blog dot file. So should be equals to our request dot file. So this way now we are going to have the name of the file we are trying to upload saved in the database, while the actual file will be uploaded in our file system. So with that setup, let's go ahead and test the application. So I'm going to use Postman to test things out. So let's go to localhost /rest/blog, and then let's try out the get endpoint. So I'm going to use Postman to test things out. So let's head over to Postman, and so let's go to routes. So this should so I'm going to use Postman to test things out. So let's do that. This is localhost / rest. Sorry, port is 8083 / rest /block. So let's start with the get endpoint. So as you can see, we don't have any record yet in our database. So let's go ahead and create one. So we have to click on the body. It should be a form data. So since we're going to upload a file, so we're going to start with the title. So let's say this is first block. There we're going to have the contents. So say first block content, and lastly we should have the file. So this should be a file, and let's go ahead and select an image. So let's send this request. So as you can see, our record has been created, but I think we have an issue here. The ID is returning an empty object instead of the object ID. So let's go ahead and fix that. So we should go back to the model. Okay, this should be the object ID, and so the name should be ID, and so right here should be of type string. So I think this solves the problem. So let's go ahead and create this again. Yeah, so as you can see here, we have the object ID created for this. So now let's see if the file was actually uploaded. So let's head over to the public. So you can see we have the upload folder created, and the two files has also been uploaded to our disk storage. So guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video with your friends. I have the link to the Ts.Ed documentation in the description below. Feel free to explore and then learn more about Ts.Ed. See you in the next video.